When we think of protein, what foods come to mind? Most people likely think of meat, milk, and eggs. However, surprisingly, did you know that vegetables like spinach and kale contain twice as much protein per calorie as beef? We have been enthusiastic about protein for a long time, but nutrition authority Dr. Colin Campbell shares a shocking truth in his book Whole that shakes this common belief. It is the idea that the main culprit of cancer may not be plant protein, but animal protein. In this video, we will cover why we have developed false beliefs about protein, how much protein our bodies actually need, how excessive protein intake harms our health, and finally, the correct way to consume protein for a healthy diet. We hold false beliefs about protein. For decades, we have been educated that milk and meat are good for our health. Because of this, there is a strong tendency to worship animal protein. Dr. Campbell points out that it is difficult for us to accept that these beliefs might actually be detrimental to our health. Our society has a very strong idea that milk and meat are good for health. Because of that, it is difficult to accept the fact that our thoughts might be wrong and that these foods are actually not very good for our health. Dr. Campbell emphasizes that instead of fighting our bodies with toxic drugs and dangerous surgeries, it is important to eat healthy plant-based foods, use oil and salt minimally, and avoid refined carbohydrates like sugar and white flour. He says this is the way to take good care of ourselves. The most important step is to change the way we eat. The diet is simple. Eat healthy plant-based foods, use little to no oil and salt, and do not consume refined carbohydrates like sugar and white flour. As the meaning of the word protein implies the important thing, or the primary substance, it is an essential organic matter for the growth of organisms, maintenance of body tissues, and the formation of enzymes and antibodies. It is especially essential for the growth of infants and young animals. The most protein is needed during the period of fastest growth. Interestingly, the protein ratio in breast milk gradually decreases according to the baby's growth rate. For a human infant whose weight doubles at 180 days after birth, the average protein ratio in breast milk is 1.6%, which is 7% relative to calories. Surprisingly, the protein ratios of most fruits and vegetables, such as grapes, 1.3%, raspberries, 1.5%, and dates, 2.2%, are similar to that of breast milk. Animal milk shows a much higher protein content than human milk. For example, cows at 3.5%, sheep at 6.5%, and cats at 9.5%. In particular, animal foods like meat often have protein content nearing 50% relative to calories. This means that adults are consuming about 7 times the amount of protein needed during infancy, the period when humans require the most protein. Once we become adults, the body stops growing, so protein is primarily used to repair and replace damaged cells. Therefore, the amount of protein an adult needs decreases even further. Protein is not the body's primary fuel. Energy is mainly obtained from carbohydrates and fats. The body can store carbohydrates and fats, but it cannot store protein. To use protein as fuel, it must go through an inefficient and taxing process of separating nitrogen. Excessive protein is either converted into carbohydrates and fat to be stored or transformed into highly toxic ammonia, then converted into urea in the liver, and finally excreted through the kidneys in urine. This process places a tremendous burden on the liver and kidneys, which is associated with decreased liver function and kidney disease. Furthermore, excessive protein causes acidification of the body. To neutralize this, our body leaches calcium from the bones, which becomes a cause of osteoporosis. In the 19th century, German chemist Baron von Liebig and physiologist Carl von Voigt set the recommended protein intake, 100 to 125 grams, absurdly high, based on men with high physical activity or growing animals. These erroneous standards became firmly established in the medical community and gave birth to the false belief that a high-protein diet is good for the body. Since then, many experiments have proven that 30 to 40 grams of protein per day is sufficient. According to research from Dr. Max Rubner, only 4% of the total calories we consume should be in the form of protein. That is, if you consume 2,000 calories a day, you only need about 22 to 23 grams of protein. Today, most modern people are over-consuming protein, and in fact, protein deficiency is rarely found. Excessive protein intake can cause serious problems for the body. Protein exceeding the amount the body can process increases the nitrogen concentration in the blood, causing headaches and general body pain, and places an excessive burden on hormone-regulating organs like the liver, kidneys, and adrenal glands. Many symptoms mistaken for allergies are actually toxicity issues caused by excessive protein intake. Dr. Colin Campbell emphasizes there is a strong correlation between protein intake and breast cancer, prostate cancer, pancreatic cancer, and colon cancer. Excessive protein putrefies in the stomach into toxic ammonia, then into nitrosamines, which have a high potential to cause cancer. According to a 2014 study in Cell Metabolism, middle-aged people who consume a lot of animal protein were 4 times more likely to die from cancer. On the other hand, plant protein did not affect the increase in mortality. Sulfur-containing amino acids, which are abundant in animal protein, produce sulfuric acid in the body, which acidifies the blood. The body leaches calcium from the bones to neutralize this, which is a major cause of osteoporosis and gum disease. Dr. Mark Hegstedt pointed out osteoporosis is not due to a lack of calcium. It is the wealthy in Western developed countries who consume a lot of animal protein who suffer more from osteoporosis. In the process of the liver converting toxic ammonia into urea and the kidneys excreting it, excessive protein places a tremendous burden on the liver and kidneys. This can lead to decreased liver function and kidney disease. Dr. Herbert M. Shelton advised protein intake must be low to avoid burdening the kidneys. Dr. Douglas Graham says that excessive protein intake is related to various health problems such as toxemia, digestive disorders, autoimmune dysfunction, arthritis, and premature aging. Dr. Paavo Airola also mentions pyorrhea, schizophrenia, atherosclerosis, and heart disease, warning that excessive protein causes premature aging and shortens the lifespan. Protein is composed of basic units called amino acids, and it is these amino acids that our bodies need. Our bodies break down ingested protein into amino acids to use them, and even synthesizes necessary protein by recycling proteinaceous waste within the body. Our bodies have an amino acid pooling system, where amino acids circulate in the blood and lymphatic system and are stored in the liver and cells to be used whenever needed. This is like a bank, available 24 hours a day. Amino acids that the body cannot produce and must be ingested through food are called essential amino acids, while protein containing all 8 essential amino acids is called complete protein. This is a misleading term. We don't need to consume all essential amino acids at once in a single food or a single meal. Thanks to the amino acid pooling system, we can receive a sufficient supply of amino acids through a variety of foods. Unlike carnivores, herbivores consume grass, tubers, and grains without suffering from protein deficiency. Fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, and sprouts provide not only all essential and non-essential amino acids, but also abundant minerals, vitamins, and enzymes, all the nutrients we need. In particular, foods like bananas, tomatoes, almonds, and broccoli contain all 8 essential amino acids and are easy to digest. Meat is very low in carbohydrates, forcing the body to go through an inefficient process of using protein as an energy source, which creates toxic byproducts. Conversely, fruits, vegetables, and nuts contain sufficient carbohydrates along with protein, helping the body use protein efficiently for its original purpose. We must break free from the false belief of excessive protein intake. Excessive protein, especially animal protein, can cause serious health problems such as bone loss, liver and kidney disease, and cancer. The protein our bodies need can be sufficiently obtained through plant foods like fruits, vegetables, and nuts, which is a much healthier and more efficient way. Now is the time for a change towards a plant-based diet that will keep us healthy and vibrant.